What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the show. We have left Slovenia. We've driven north into the Dolomites in northern Italy, where we have lakes and mountain huts and a bunch of fog and clouds and stuff. It looked in the weather like today was going to be the beautiful day, the clear day of the next 3 or 4 or 5 days, and so we hustled up here this morning trying to score some of that and didn't get it. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. We've had a wonderful lunch down at the hut here and have just been hanging out trying to stay warm and wait for evening. Sunrise is in about 3 hours, so we have plenty of time to kind of enjoy the scenery. But if you look around here, there is a lot to see, and we are super psyched to be back in the Dolomites. Super psyched to get to shoot here again, and yeah, hopefully tonight the sunset will deliver and we'll get something amazing. If not, we'll have a kind of sketchy walk down in the dark. So either way, it'll be a good time. So welcome back to the show. I'm glad you're here. Here we go. Guys, it doesn't look like it's going to happen here today. We've been hanging out for hours and it just gets darker and more cloudy. This happens as a day in the mountains, so we're going to head back down to a little lake we saw and see if we can play around with some reflections or something. We'll have a little camera fun. So let's do that. So this is a good opportunity to talk about just the reality of being a landscape photographer, you know. This happens a lot. We'll come out, we'll make a huge effort to get someplace. I mean, we've come all the way to Italy, and you get sort of, you know, fog, clouds, bad weather, rain, and you have to come back. And there are a few shots we've gone back to several times, 5 and 6 times in fact. There's one from Switzerland that we've been hunting, or we were hunting. Went back 5 different times. Now imagine that. Go all the way to Europe, go all the way up to this mountain, trek all the way up there, set everything up, and then it rains, or it's foggy, or the light just doesn't materialize, and you have to come back. And so often that's how it is, and I think people look at a portfolio, especially a deep portfolio, and think, oh, every time you go out, you know, you come back with something great. And that's just not the truth. I mean, a lot of times you can come back with something at least fun, but it's not always great. And that's just the reality of it. And so if you don't love just getting out here and just doing the work and coming to these places, you're gonna be a kind of a sourpuss of a photographer, because this can happen a lot, like I said. And I don't know, you just have to kind of learn to embrace it and have a good time and laugh a little, and, you know, hopefully you've got somebody good looking to accompany you and that maybe they're funny. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Yeah, she's funny. Very entertaining, for the record. Anyway, we're headed down to that lake now, and we'll see if we can at least get a little reflection or have a little fun, or, I don't know, laugh. I was gonna try to talk some more. The trail just keeps going up. I don't remember coming down this much stuff, but I guess we must have. Oh, the price we pay. All right, this sort of crazy turn of events, we might actually be able to get something. There are these 2 little lakes. The first one is too close, so I'm running back to the second one. I don't know if anything's gonna happen, but we haven't seen that much of those towers since we got here this morning. So we may end up having to do a sort of a long exposure or something like that in order to be able to get the exposure. But there's no wind back here, so these little ponds should be completely still, or at least close enough that a long exposure will get us what we want. So yeah, stay tuned. Maybe we'll pull one out of our. Anyway. Well, that was a lot of excitement for nothing. All right, so there's a lake here, and there's a lake over there, and we thought one of those two we'd be able to get a reflection of this tower behind me. And yeah, you can't. There's rocks and hills and you just can't. So Katya's yelling at me that she has an idea. So we will run over to where she's at because I took us way off trail here. And I don't know, more wild goose chase with Drew and Katya. What can I say? And there's cow everywhere. So yeah, I gotta turn this off and walk. All right, this may not work, but there's sort of some fog moving through and a little tower behind. I've got Katya up on the hill and she's just walking as a sort of hiker, just to sort of, just as something in the frame. And so we're gonna try and shoot her against that foggy, cloudy backdrop and just see if we can get something that might work. And how about we adjust you down just a little bit? That good? Okay. All right, same thing, I'm just recomposing. I'm trying to put her in the lower portion of the frame so we get a nice big open area above her that's all gonna be white. My tripod keeps turning. What? No, it's good with the pack. You want to. You gotta listen to your model sometimes. All right, so I'm going to just tip. How about we give you a little bit more? Yeah, like that. This doesn't look ridiculous. Okay, back to work. Let's actually go. I'm gonna have to crop this anyway, but this will be easier to compose like this. I'm overexposed just a little bit from my meter, but that's because Katya is so dark on this bright background that we're gonna need to. Keeps recording. Thought I was gonna be out of battery by now. Okay, I'm gonna pull a little tighter, so just hold still. Here's this awesome lens that I told you about last time. Boing. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting Katya in the very bottom of the frame. We're running out of light, to be honest, so. All right, arms down. That's good. That's good. That's probably not gonna work, but why not try it? We're here, right? I think that's it. There's probably nothing, but if there is, well, I'll talk to you back at the hotel because this has been stupid. Hey, well, this is a little jump from where we were. When I last left you, we were in the Dolomites. You've just watched it, so you know that. We have left the Dolomites. We are now in Tuscany. Actually, we're leaving Tuscany. We've been through Tuscany. It's taken me a while to do these edits because we've been moving so fast the last handful of days. But anyway, we're driving from Tuscany to the coast to catch a ferry. I'm losing my words today. To catch a ferry to go to Corsica, which should be awesome. And just driving along, we see this orchard of quaking aspen trees. And there's this road running down through the trees. And we're working on a project outside of this, taking some of our fine art photography and putting them on really luxurious cashmere and superfine merino scarves. Watch for that, we'll be talking about that later. But anyway, we're doing some catalog shots while we are here in Europe. And since it's the middle of the day and there's no fine art shots to be had, and there's this really great road, we thought, why not stop and shoot some catalog shots here, because that's just cool. So anyway, since we didn't get any shots in the Dolomites in this episode worth talking about, maybe we will get something here. So I'm going to show you a couple of things about how I'm shooting this in order to get it right. And if you watch the Dark Hedges episode talking about the behind the shot of the Dark Hedges, you'll know a little bit of this about using a longer focal length to compress the depth in a scene in order to get the right look. So if you look behind me, you can see it's a lot of trees, but the trees seem so far apart that that getting a cohesive composition is really not right. But when you look down this road with your eyes, you see it a little bit differently, and this line of trees is really nice and compressed, and it seems like everything's held together really tightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my camera and I'm going to throw on two different lenses. The first one I'm going to throw on is my 16 to 35, which is my landscape lens. And you'll see that through that lens, this whole thing looks exactly like it does through the lens on my video camera here. And then we're gonna throw on the zoom lens and we're gonna pull it in tight. And you'll see how all of a sudden these trees that seem so wide open are now compressed down to a really nice corridor of trees that will make for a really nice shot. Yeah, and then we'll get Katya to throw on a scarf or two and walk down. We have some samples and just walk down this road, see if we can get something that actually will work for the catalog. So welcome to this part. Sorry about the diversion. Sorry about not having a wrap up for that last section of really no fine art shot, but we're gonna do this. So if you're interested, keep watching, I guess. All right, so like I said, we're gonna start with the 16 to 35 and I'm gonna open it all the way to 16. I'm just gonna press record here on my DSLR so that I can show you what I'm seeing through the camera. So this is at 16 millimeters. You can see it's really wide open. We can see the gaps in the trees along the sides. Now, if I turn that to 35 millimeters, you'll see that that does zoom in and compress the scene a little bit, but not near as much as we're hoping for. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch to the nerd lens that we've unlocked, the nerd lens we've talked about before, and we're gonna zoom in and I'm gonna show you how that changes the whole compression of this frame and goes from being all this open space to a really nice tight composition. So let's switch this lens and I'll show you that. Okay, now I've switched lenses. This is a 28 to 300, I know. But all I'm gonna do is push into about 100. So I'm set at 35, which is where we ended on the last lens. Now if I zoom to 35, I'll show you in the camera here to 100. You can see what's happened. The whole scene is compressed, and even though we're zoomed and we've lost a few of these early trees, you see the whole scene compresses down and we get this really nice solid section of trees where you're not seeing the gaps in the sides. You're actually getting exactly what we want, which is this nice row of columns going into the distance, that sort of vanishing point at the end of the road. And now we're going to put Katya down there and we're going to have a little fun with the camera and see if we can get a couple of shots for the catalog. Now the other thing I should mention here is I don't think I'm going to shoot this on the tripod because I actually want to be able to move with Katya a little bit to be able to dynamically reframe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump my ISO up to maybe ISO 200, maybe we'll push it even as far as 400 depending on whether I can get a fast enough exposure. But what I want is for this, this lens has vibration reduction, so reduction. So I am going to get some stabilization out of it, but I really want to make sure that I'm still shooting fast enough that handheld I can get a great shot. So I'm looking for a shutter speed of about a 250th of a second or faster than that. 500th would be great. That'll give me a lower depth of field probably because it's a faster shutter speed. But we're just gonna play around with it handheld and walk around with her on this road and see what we can get. So I'm gonna cut out here for a second because I gotta go do the work, and then we'll come back and talk about the shot and whether we got it, and hopefully I'll have a picture to show you. So. All right, we're gonna try and film this a little from here. This might not work, but we're gonna do it anyway. Okay, I'm sitting on the ground. Katya is about maybe 30 or 40 feet from me down the road here, and we've got this beautiful sunlight coming straight in from the top. So the leaves are lighting up very beautifully. We've got a highlight and a shadow side on each of the trees. It's actually kind of perfect. It's this really soft, beautiful light, the thing that, you know, Tuscany is known for. Katya, I need you to take another like 10 steps forward. That's good right there. So I'm having her walk right down the middle, right down this green grassy section in the middle of the road so that I have these columns of trees on either side. And then I've got that sunlight highlight coming right down the middle. And we're just trying a few different things. We've got the scarf wrapped right now just down her back, and this is a really cool scarf from Burma. It's not a scarf from Burma, it's a picture from Burma with a monk on it, this picture. And now it's on a scarf, and so I've got the monk down her back just sort of being worn as a pashmina, just pulled sort of around as a wrap. And I'm having her walk and the sun's picking up from the front through her hair. Looks great. All right, now I'm pulling in even a little tighter, as you can see, to 300 millimeters, really getting her solid in the center of the frame. We're gonna do one this way, and then I'm gonna pull back a little bit and we're gonna get more of the trees. All right, you ready? Walk in 1, 2, 3. Good? It's all experimentation, walking back, walking forward. One of these frames will work, especially with walking. Steps are always tricky. You want the feet to be in just the right position so you see the momentum, you see the movement, but the action is frozen and it looks very natural. So a lot of times it takes 3 or 4 passes to just get one frame where the feet are in the right place, the body's in the right place, hair's flowing, whatever. You know, that fashion-y. I should also note that I'm on continuous focus, and that's very important. Usually, you know, I'm a fan of manual focus, but for something like this, I've got to have it track the subject because we're dealing with a narrow depth of field and I'm shooting as quickly as I can. I don't want to have to worry about whether or not this is going to be sharp afterwards. And even if autofocus is just, you know, 3% less sharp than manual might be on a good day, that's still sharp enough. Let's be honest, it's still sharp enough. Yeah, I'm going for it. Oh, geez. Okay, come back. Oh, so dirty. Oh, sorry. So yeah, laying down on the ground is a great way to get that angle that you wouldn't normally be able to get. I was literally putting the side of the camera in the dirt. My eye just could barely see the viewfinder. I was just trying to keep things level and make sure that Katya was in the focus zone. But I think that actually might be a super cool picture. So we're just stepping back here behind the car. We're gonna throw the magnifier on and we're gonna see if we got anything worth looking at. What? Oh, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good. All right, so we did the walk a whole bunch of times. I had Katya just sort of working it runway style, back and forth, which I'm sure she loved. We tried 2 different prints. I think that the one with the monk is going to be the better of the 2, but you never know until you get these things into post-processing. So it's always nice if you have multiple things to go ahead and do it all. The light box effect of this little grove of trees has been magic. I tried to film a little bit with the other camera, and if that worked, I'll throw it in as B-roll somewhere. I hope you saw it. I hope it was good. If not, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a B-roll guy. Anyway, yeah, so I have to show you the shots. So without further blah blah, we'll just call this an episode and hear the shots. Oh, one more thing. Before I show you those, I wanted to talk a little bit, you know, in this video we talked about just getting out and doing the work and going to the places and just being open and being in the place. More important than getting the shot, really. It's also important to make the best of those situations. And Katya and I, while we were up on top when I did the intro at the beginning, we shot a few pictures of each other and of ourselves together, just sort of selfie kind of stuff. When we're traveling like this, it's all about, you know, going to the fine art places and doing the fine art things, and we don't take the time, or we haven't in the past taken the time to just do pictures of us. And more than just sort of your Instagram-y person in a big landscape thing, but to actually get those shots that show our personality and show where we are in life and where we are in the world, and to share that sort of, you know, the sparkle in your eye and that sort of a shot. And I want to encourage you, as you're out doing things like that, to do those pictures, even if it's just of yourself, because when you look back, you went to that great place. Maybe you shot something for social media or whatever, but did you shoot something for yourself? Those people are going to look at and they're going to know who you were because of it. So anyway, here are the shots from the shoot. Here are just a bunch of shots. Enjoy them. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.